I believe that character goes into anything we do, because you could have a makeup, but if it doesn't have character, you just have a makeup. My name is Ricky Vitus. I'm a creature designer and special effects artist by trade. I would say maybe around 8 to 10 years old, I was watching Planet of the Apes, things like that. I had the realization that obviously there were makeups and you knew that as a kid, but you didn't really think about the fact that there was somebody that did that and created it. And my mother, she told me like, oh yeah, Rick Baker does this stuff, and Pierce, they all do this stuff. I had that realization then and there. I'm like, I want to do that stuff. So she realized that this was what I was going to do very early on, because I was constantly doing this stuff. It was all I could think about doing. Anyway, so I met Tom Savini at a horror convention called Horror Find. So I met him, and then I came back and met him again when I was in makeup, and he goes, oh, you should go to my school. And 8 years later, I did. It was great. So I came in with a little bit of a former knowledge, and I was able to build off of that through these amazing instructors and work through their life experience and their mistakes that they've made to be able to become the artists that they were. So I worked on it was basically like a short teaser. It was originally a comic, but it was called Black Forest. And it was a World War II kind of situation with some of the Universal monsters, obviously a little reimagined. Being the werewolf guy, I did the werewolf, the Wolfman. So it was amazing working with the film department and Bob Tennell. Like, he knows exactly what he wants. And it was amazing to be able to do some of these bigger projects that I wouldn't have been able to do at home. You could get into anything and learn about it, whereas you might not have had the space or materials to do that prior. So 8 years ago, I ended up becoming the department head for the wigs and makeup department at a theater called Gateway Playhouse in Long Island. Taking over that position was honestly big shoes to fill from the previous guy. So my first year I went extra hard and I blew them out of the water. So from there, I started working at Tom Spina Designs. Now this is a company that a lot of us in school, we actually used a lot of his reference photos for things like the Gremlins. And the other company is called Regal Robot. So they work direct with Lucasfilm. So we do certain merchandising and other things for Lucasfilm and Star Wars. I actually got into that shop because they were doing a run of 50 limited edition Chewbacca heads. So Tom knew me from my werewolf work and doing all that hair work. So I crewed up with them to help get out and facilitate these 50 Chewbacca heads. And I'm still there. Still making Chewbaccas. Still restoring a bunch of monsters. So all these molds were basically taking up space, not paying rent in my apartment. So I decided to just put a werewolf display together, shoulders up, and it sold immediately. Like immediately. I posted it up and a guy messaged me, he goes, how much for that? Since then, I've just kept making them and people love them. And I've actually been making a pretty good living month to month based off those. It's just extra income. So I've been bringing friends in to help. And recently I've actually started hiring people to offload some of the work. And at this point, I might just have to make the jump and finally open up my own studio. So I had never had any direct intention of going on to Face Off. Some things that you're not gonna see on screen were like, all right, so put some duct tape down there, and you have to direct the person, like, do not move your left arm, keep your head up, do not turn your head, because you'll fall apart. But being able to take that away from Face Off, you learn how to do so much quicker. And it was actually one of the craft services women. We were outside, we were having lunch, and obviously we were all very stressed out. And she came over and she said to us, I know you are all stressed out, but what you're doing here may feel impossible, but you are doing it. So you're gonna come out of here realizing that you could do so much more than you thought you could. Oh, that makes me so emotional. There's a craft services woman for a reality TV show. Inspiring. But as far as getting eliminated and finding work after, the reality is it's a reality show. In the industry, Face Off doesn't really matter too much except to other Face Off people. It's almost like how Savini kids are. We find ourselves out in the wild and we're instantly like, one of us. So we help each other get jobs constantly. The phrase, it's who you know, is not negative. People use it in a negative connotation constantly, like, oh, it's all about who you know. That's a very positive thing because you're networking. There's no industry where you aren't networking. And coming to this school, I mean, you're instantly integrated with a bunch of artists. You're making connections, not just with industry professionals, but future industry professionals. So Haunters Against Hate, they're an amazing organization. They work with haunted houses, and basically a percentage of ticket sales go to this foundation. There's a number of causes that they cover. One of their main ones is, it's an anti-bullying campaign, but it also helps find housing for LGBTQ youth that have been kicked out of their homes. So they help homeless youth have a better start to their lives. So to be able to do anything to help my community in any way possible, any little bit of a platform I had, I should use, because a big problem is people just are ill-informed. So I've been doing that for a while now, and at the last Haunters Against Hate event, I was given the LGBTQ Advocacy Award, which honestly, I had to try to not cry on stage. It was a huge honor to be able to be a recipient of that amazing award alongside the other amazing recipients. So if there's anything I've taken away from my experience here at Tom Savini and from Face Off and just about every venue of life that I've had when it comes to my art, is that you will always learn new things. You will always get discouraged, but you need to continue, get inspired by different things, take that, and just move forward, project, and just move on to the next thing, because things you'll create, you don't even know. The faces you haven't met yet, it's all out there for you.